one room gets clean at the expense of another. I'm Ronnie, and you're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where I walk you through cleaning your house step by step. When you clean along with this show, you'll get more done in less time so you can spend the rest of your day doing what matters most to you. Hi, cleaning besties. In today's episode, we are going to make some progress in your entire house. And this is going to be one of those sessions where we're cleaning in layers instead of room by room. Often we need to prioritize and work on certain rooms first. But other times we have a little more time and we just want to do a whole house cleaning session. And there are efficient ways to do that without going room by room necessarily. Okay. And it also keeps things interesting when you don't do the exact same routine every time you clean. Let's get right into the episode. It's time to gear up for your whole house cleaning session. Maybe you need to get dressed for the day. Maybe you like cleaning in shoes, or maybe you want to slip on a pair of slides. Maybe you want to clean barefoot, but I don't recommend it if you've got gritty floors. I don't like that feeling. Okay, you might want to put on shoes so that you move quickly about without thinking about the state of your floors. Maybe they're even sticky if you've got little ones spilling juice. I don't know. Use sippy cups with valves, folks. Another thing you might want to do to gear up for your cleaning session is get your house smelling fresh. Weather permitting, you can open the windows and let some fresh air circulate through. And letting the light come in by opening the blinds or curtains can also energize you regardless of the weather. Or maybe you want to start a wax warmer, essential oil diffuser, or light a candle. A lot of times the aromatherapy really gets me in the mood for cleaning. I love things that smell like lemon verbena, and eventually it's going to be pumpkin spice season again. I don't drink a lot of pumpkin spice lattes, but what I do love is actual pumpkin pie, and I love the scented candles and fall decor and fall weather and wearing sweaters. I love the fall. We've got a ways for that, but it is the end of July, and in today's day and age, we start observing fall in August. To me, it's a little weird when the weather's still hot, but once we go back to school, I'm probably decorating for fall. I say once we get back to school, I really mean when the kids go back to school, but I work at the school off and on, and I haven't really finalized my negotiations about what I'm going to be doing at the school yet. But for sure the kids are going back. If I go back, I'll be working either 2 or 3 days a week. Maybe you need to start a load of laundry. Do you need to wash your bedding? Something I've been doing with my bedding lately, I wash the comforter and I run it through the dryer maybe one time or maybe not at all. I have this room divider thing that I use in the bathroom. I like to put it next to the bathtub in case my husband's going in and out of the room while I'm in the bathtub, and people are coming down the hallway or whatever. It adds a little bit of privacy in case my bedroom door ends up opening. Well, another thing that I do with that room divider is I hang the freshly washed comforter over it. I hang it up to dry because I'm so tired of having to restart the dryer again and again to dry a comforter. It's a waste of electricity and time. And so what I do is I wash and dry the sheets and pillowcases, but with the comforter, which is actually a duvet, I wash it, hang it up to dry, and then we go to bed using an alternate comforter, and then the one I wash dries overnight. So I'm just throwing that out there in case somebody is trying to save money on their electric bill or gas bill. But maybe you need to start some bedding, or maybe you need to start a load of towels. It can go a long way to just wash the towels in underwear. Because let's face it, most of us have a lot of clothes and we're not running out of clothes to wear, but we might run out of towels or underwear. And underwear are small, so you can always buy more. But that having been said, I tend to steer away from buying lots and lots of socks, t-shirts, and underwear just to make sure we always have clean stuff, because laundry is a weak point for me and I don't want to be tempted to let it pile up too much. I'd rather throw in some underwear with a towel load than have a bunch of underwear and a huge pile of clean laundry, if that makes sense. Some people can relate, some can't. But if your husband has ever bought himself t-shirts, underwear, and socks just simply because he doesn't have enough clean laundry, it might have added to the size of your mount. Fold more. By now you've started some laundry. The next thing I want you to do is get some cleaner into your toilet bowls. Obviously, if you're worried about toddlers, pets, shut the door, or, do this at a time when you're home alone. But I'm assuming you can safely do this. Get some cleaner into your toilet bowls and give them a swish so that that chemical will have time to do its work. Okay? You want to get your house working for you while you're working for it. The next thing I want you to do is gather up any dirty dishes from around the house. Get those items soaking, or at least get them to the sink area. But if some of them have sat too long already, for example, a dirty cereal or ice cream bowl from the day before, or a mug with a ring in the bottom of it, fill those items with hot soapy water or get them submerged in the sink, whatever your system is. Get all those dirty dishes gathered up, and whatever needs to be soaking, get it soaking. And maybe your entire kitchen's a disaster right now and you have a dirty pot and pan and casserole dish. Get those pre-rinsed, get them filled up and soaking as well. Okay? Because while your toilet bowls are soaking, you want your dishes to be soaking. We're working on the whole house at once in this episode. By the way, do you have any plants to water? I feel like somebody mentioned that. I do water my plants while I'm cleaning oftentimes. If my husband's out of town or something, I'll also feed the fish. He hasn't been working, so he hasn't been traveling on business. So he's the one who feeds the fish, but maybe that falls to you if you have an aquarium. By the way, once you've isolated the dishes to the sink area and put away appliances that you haven't been using and things like that, go spray happy and just spray down your countertops. And maybe even give them a little scrub with an abrasive sponge and then spray them again. Okay, especially if they're pretty dirty right now. That can go a long way. And when you come back to wipe down the countertops after working elsewhere in your house, the stuff's going to come off more easily. But you got to get it kind of wet for this to work, because you don't want it, to just spray something lightly that's going to dry. Get it kind of wet. Okay, don't go overboard. Of course, you don't want to warp your countertops or anything. But sometimes I will scrub my countertops. I'll spray them with my favorite cleaning product. I'll scrub them with an abrasive sponge and some dish soap. And then I'll spray them again to where things are kind of damp, and then I'll come back to it. Pause the episode if you need more time for that step. But the next thing I'm going to have you do is a whole house pickup. One of the keys to getting your whole house presentable at once is going into every room and picking up the floor and then the furniture. I start by picking up the floor, then I remove any items from the couch, coffee table, end table, okay, straighten the couch cushions, and just get the whole house tidied up. It still might look a little rough if it's been a while since you vacuumed and dusted, but we're cleaning in layers here, so I want you to go through every room of your house and pick up, just like I had you do in the regular episode on Monday. That whole house pickup can work wonders, because I think sometimes we end up neglecting a room in the back somewhere, whether it's a spare room, a bedroom, or maybe one of the bathrooms. I mean, there's probably, if you have more than one bathroom, there's probably one that you use. You're probably getting ready in the master bathroom and using the toilet in there and everything else that you do in a bathroom, and then not going into the other bathroom as much. The thing about doing a whole house pickup is it forces you to go into each room and pick up, and then you don't have any neglected dungeons anywhere. You don't have a nightmare bathroom or a nightmare bedroom. So I want you to spend a few more minutes tidying up. And of course, there are always people ahead of the game. And, this might be a day where you've been keeping up on your cleaning and you don't need to just barely pick up the house or something. I get that. Some of you need to be deep cleaning during this session, and that's perfectly fine. But I like to make sure that you are at least getting your house tidied up, and you're getting your dishes done, and you're sanitizing your bathroom and kitchen. Okay? You're keeping up on laundry. I like to make sure that you're knocking out those minimums, but rest assured we are going to clean surfaces in this episode. We are going to do some deep cleaning. But right now, we're doing the surface level tidying of the entire house. And it can seem overwhelming, but it really isn't. And there's probably at least one room that is in worse condition than the others. Okay? Maybe you only had 3 or 4 things to pick up in the living room, but your bedroom floor is a disaster. But it's probably just visually overwhelming. There probably isn't as much to pick up as you think, or maybe all of those items go in the same place. Like maybe your living room's covered in toys, or your bedroom's covered in dirty laundry. And sometimes it's okay to wash things that might still be clean. Sometimes you can just pretend you're a teenager, put it all in the hamper, and start over. In the future, you can be more efficient about hanging things up or whatever, but if you're in survival mode right now and you need to wash a couple extra items, it's not going to hurt you. But you might be like me and you're draping clean items over a chair so you know which things you can hang up. That makes it easy. You don't have to put those in the hamper. But sometimes it's not worth the mental effort to question whether or not you can wear a pair of jeans a second time before washing them. Put them in the hamper, because right now your goal is to clear your floor and then the upper surfaces like beds, couches, tables, chairs. You should just be going fly to the bumblebee right now, picking up items all over your house. And you're getting exercise when you're doing this. When you're walking briskly and you're bending down and picking things up, that's a lot better than being sedentary. And if you're like me, you like to be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So even though you're fully focused on picking up your house, you can feel a sense of accomplishment that you're moving your body as well. Man, my husband is making tamales right now, and the smell is very distracting. It smells so good. I haven't had breakfast yet, and I really need to eat something soon. Speaking of eating, if you eat a little bit lighter, and I'm not talking about light as in low-calorie foods, I'm talking about smaller portions, it can help you with your energy levels, okay? So whether you're just trying hard to lose weight or you're not even in that mode right now, eating a little bit lighter can make things so much easier. I mean, have you ever gone out to breakfast right before a shopping trip and just thought, man, I'd rather just go home and plop down because you ate a bunch of pancakes and stuff? Be careful doing that as a homemaker, eating too much at breakfast or lunch. Now, I do try to consume more calories at breakfast and lunch than I do at dinner. That's just kind of my system for staying in a calorie deficit. By the end of the day, I'm higher up in my calorie budget, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat a light dinner. That's kind of what I do. But at the same time, I'm not eating a huge breakfast or a huge lunch that's going to drag me down. I mean, if you're stay-at-home mom, think back to a time where you worked outside the home and you didn't eat a real heavy lunch because you knew you still had 4 hours left to work after lunch. Take that same mindset with you in your homemaking, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're doing housework on your day off. Eating too much before you get your housework done can make you feel sluggish. And if you are trying to lose weight, a lot of it is about mindset. You need to get more comfortable with the feeling of only being 75% full after you eat. That can be a game changer. I'm going to give you another couple minutes to tidy up. Of course, those who already had their house completely picked up are probably cleaning surfaces. You definitely need to customize these episodes because I have no idea what the condition of your home is on any given day. And I suspect that sometimes you listen to an episode and you're doing less than what I'm telling you to do, and other times you're doing more. But while you're picking up, just another thought on, weight loss, and nowadays they call it fat loss because you don't want to lose muscle or whatever. But obviously you want to see the scale move. So that's why I'm still saying weight loss. I do try to obviously preserve my muscle mass as I'm getting older. And I do plan to get better about weight training once I get the back room turned into an office and have all the gym equipment in there. It's just going to be more convenient. But I did get on the treadmill yesterday and I did get on the weight machine. And if you're just starting to do strength training or whatever, just shoot for twice a week. There are benefits to that. There are benefits to going for a 1 mile walk. There are benefits to every 45 minutes to an hour during your work day, or just if you're sedentary on the couch, getting up and doing a few squats or a few diagonal push-ups off the countertop. A little bit is better than nothing. Don't have an all or nothing mentality when it comes to exercise. But right now, just picking up the house is getting you moving. And track your steps. If you don't think the things you do around the house are exercise, use your phone or a fitness watch to track your steps. And that might motivate you to do these whole house pickups more often because you're probably racking up a lot of steps. I know I'm all over the place, but as you're finishing up, straightening up your whole house, and remember, it's not just the floor you're picking up, okay? You're clearing surfaces. You're clearing your dresser. You're clearing your nightstand. But when you're at home, okay, maybe you're a full-time homemaker, maybe you work part-time or full-time, but when you're at home for the day, you don't want to have this mentality that you just need to fuel up. The food's always going to be there, so you want to listen to your body a little bit more, and when you're not that hungry, don't eat just because it's lunchtime. You're at home, so you don't need to prepare for anything. I just can't emphasize enough how much operating in a calorie deficit is about your mindset. It's about being comfortable with the feeling of being a little bit hungry. It's about not eating preemptively when you're not hungry, but then at the same time not waiting too long to eat, which could trigger a binge. I'm going to give you one last tip on that note because I don't want to talk too much about it. But I saw a video that I found really inspiring, and I don't remember the numbers, but this guy was saying like a certain number of hard-boiled eggs is the same amount of calories as some other number of Oreo cookies. But then he was like, what are you more likely to do? Eat this many Oreo cookies or this many eggs? And basically, you're not going to end up eating as many eggs. They're more filling than the cookies. So while no food is off limits when you're counting calories, and you can eat a cookie here or there to take the edge off, the reason you want to avoid dessert foods for the most part is because it's a waste of calories and you're more likely to eat more of them. You're more likely to overdo it on chips, cookies, than you are on hard-boiled eggs or bananas. Now that your whole house is picked up, maybe you need to revisit the countertop that you sprayed and scrubbed. And that may not apply. If you're not cooking from scratch 2 or 3 meals a day and then getting sidetracked, you may not relate to having some buildup on your countertops. Maybe you're like these cleaning videos that I see on YouTube where whenever they wipe down the countertops in the kitchen, they're completely clean to begin with because either they never cook because they're, rich influencers, or they pre-clean their house to avoid embarrassment. They pre-clean it before the video. I don't know. But some of us, have some scrubbing to do on the countertops. Go back in there, spray and wipe a second time. And while you're in there, wipe down your kitchen cabinets, the fronts of your large appliances, your stovetop, the control panel of your stove, and the exterior of your refrigerator. And by the way, I do have episodes for cleaning the inside of your refrigerator. I think I have a link to one of them on cleanwithmepodcast.com. So if you don't need to do any of the housework that I'm talking about, clean the inside of your fridge. But a lot of us just want to get our whole house clean today. By the way, a great time to clean the inside of the refrigerator is either the day before or the hours before, or in the hours before you get a large amount of groceries. So if you do a weekly grocery trip or a monthly grocery trip, clean out your refrigerator and then wipe it down while it's relatively empty. Just a tip there, but we're not really focusing on the inside of your fridge in this episode. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes in the kitchen. You're going to want to deep clean those upper surfaces. You're going to want to wipe down the cabinets, top and bottom. You're going to want to scrub your countertops, your stovetop, clean out your sink, and if you did leave a few things to soak, now's the time to go ahead and wash those dishes because you want to get down to dish 0. And right now you might be thinking about those to-do list items other than your housework. You might be preoccupied with back to school preparations, or you might be thinking about some bills you need to pay later today, or you might be thinking about what you're going to make for dinner. Resist the urge to get sidetracked. If you need to mentally dump something onto a notepad or the notepad app of your phone, then do so. Sometimes I even just text my husband something like all-purpose flour, salsa, whatever. I'll text a couple ingredients. He knows exactly what I'm doing. And the reason I do that is because we go grocery shopping together. So if I forget about that item, he'll remember it too. So maybe you want to involve someone else in your to-do list, or maybe you want to just kind of brain dump yourself. Maybe you have a chalkboard in your kitchen. I got a really cute little chalkboard from Hobby Lobby. Sometimes I like to write down what I'm making for dinner that night. But another thing that I use that chalkboard, and just be working in your kitchen, everything except the floor, because we're doing that at the end of the episode, or at least I'll tell you to do it after the episode. But that's for the end. We clean top to bottom. So you're working on your kitchen surfaces and getting down to dish 0 while I talk. And if you don't have dishes to do, everything fit in the dishwasher, you got it done earlier, or you've been doing dishes as you go, or you've been eating out, great. Be deep cleaning the surfaces of your kitchen. I want you to do that either way. Even if you have to leave a couple things soaking, make sure you're deep cleaning your kitchen. But another thing I use the little chalkboard for, Sometimes when I get groceries, I'll have several meals in mind. I'm not one of these people that's like, okay, Monday is chicken night, Tuesday is taco night. Like, I'm not going to be that specific, partly because we don't know how many leftovers we're going to have. Some days we're going to eat leftovers, or I might declare a fend for yourself night or whatever. But what I do know when I'm grocery shopping is which meals I've bought ingredients for. So my method of meal planning is planning a certain number of meals, but not planning which day we're going to have them on. So sometimes I make a list of dinners and put that on the chalkboard. That way, when my husband goes to cook, because we take turns cooking, he can see what dinners I had in mind when I bought the ingredients that I bought, if that makes sense. But sometimes I write other random things on the chalkboard. My point is, you need a method of brain dumping so that when thoughts come into your head about things that you need to do later, you can just brain dump those to do items instead of kind of flitting around from one task to another and never completing anything. Right now we're cleaning, so you might need to brain dump something else that's popped into your head. And I feel like it happens a lot in the kitchen. You'll start thinking, oh, I need this or that at the store. And it can just get your mind wandering. So that's where the chalkboard or maybe a magnetic notepad that's on the refrigerator or just something in your phone comes into play. You've got to have a place to brain dump. And maybe you're not distracted at this particular moment, but I feel like it's so valuable to be able to brain dump. And a lot of times I do it before I go to bed. I'll put some to-do list items in my notepad app and then I'll check it in the morning. That way I don't go to bed worrying about what I need to do the next day, worrying whether I'm going to forget to do it. So definitely get a system for that. We're going to spend only a couple more minutes in the kitchen, but I'm hoping that you have everything done in there except the floor. I hope you're wiping down your countertops. I hope you're wiping down your table. I hope you're wiping down your chairs if they're sticky. I hope you're cleaning out the high chair if you have a toddler or baby. And of course, if you're ahead of the game, there are always decluttering tasks to be done in the kitchen. Sometimes you need to consolidate two seasoning containers. Sometimes you need to organize your pantry because whoever helped you put away the groceries didn't put them away exactly as you want them. Sometimes I'll use containers that have missing lids to store other items. For example, I have a canister that doesn't have a lid. I put all of the tumbler lids into that canister just to keep them contained so that they're not spread out. I don't have a lot of drawers and I didn't want those spread out on the shelf, so I put them in that open canister. I definitely have containers in my pantry for small things as well. For example, I have a little plastic box for the small baking ingredients like baking soda, baking powder, vanilla extract. I'm definitely big on repurposing items for storage and organization. Shoe boxes can be good for things like that. In fact, a long time ago, I ordered something that came with a very sturdy box that wasn't just the regular cardboard. It was like kind of a glossy dark brown finish. Even though it was cardboard, it was just a really pretty open box. And I ended up putting that inside my kitchen island, and I use it for the glass lids for my pots and pans. So maybe be thinking about kitchen organization right now. And if an idea pops into your head and it's not something you can do right now, put it on your brain dump list. And I have other places where I can brain dump things that are less urgent. I definitely write notes to myself in a journal, in my binder, in my calendar planner book that I use to keep track of college assignments. But if it's something that I for sure need to remember in the near future, I'm either putting it on the notepad app of my phone or I'm texting it to my husband. Obviously, the texting brain dump is not a good idea if your husband's at work. I'm talking if he's at home. Nobody really wants to be interrupted at work to find out you need barbecue sauce or razors. Okay, hopefully your kitchen surfaces are wiped down. Probably the most irritating aspects of your housework are done. Your whole house is picked up. Your dishes are done. Maybe you have a couple items soaking, but for the most part, your dishes are done. And I did give you time to wash those items that were soaking. Unless you were facing a disaster. I get it. It happens. But things are looking a lot better than when you started this episode, and I'm proud of you for that. The next thing I want you to do is go back and scrub the inside of both of your toilet bowls. I'm just randomly assuming you have 2 bathrooms. You might have 1 bathroom or 3 bathrooms. But go back and scrub the inside of those toilet bowls now that the chemical has had time to soak. And I know you picked up the bathroom floors in both bathrooms, but what I want you to do is focus on deep cleaning at least one of the bathrooms, meaning you're going to clean the vanity, okay, the countertop, the sink, the faucets, the area behind the faucets, and then the mirror. Okay, and I've said this before, but my tip for cleaning a huge bathroom mirror is attaching a microfiber cloth to the end of a mop, which for me I use the Swiffer because you can just literally push into those little holes. You push the microfiber cloth into the little holes in the same way that you would attach a pre-moistened pad that's designed for the Swiffer. And you could be using a different brand. It's just Swiffer's what I have. It's what I know. And then you spray your mirror and mop it. But if it's a small mirror, it makes more sense to just quickly wipe it by hand. Okay. But I typically save the mirror for last because when I'm quickly scrubbing the faucet area and behind the sink, I might splash a little water on the bottom of the mirror. So that's my reasoning, but there's no right or wrong order. I mean, if it's more your style to start with the mirror and work your way down, I've done that at times, but I think just it often creates an additional step of me having to re-wipe the bottom of the mirror. Okay, so get that sink and vanity area done and then sanitize the exterior parts of your toilet, whatever you use for that. If I have disinfecting wipes in stock, I definitely like to clean the toilet with those. But if I don't, sometimes I'll grab a roll of paper towel. Well, I will grab a roll of paper towels and a disinfecting spray or some other bathroom spray, and I will clean that way. And I mean, if I'm out of cleaning products or something, I might use Windex or something. It's not a disinfectant, but it's better than not cleaning at all. And you can always add disinfectant to your shopping list or disinfecting wipes to your shopping list. In the meantime, you can still wipe down the surfaces after using whatever spray you have. And of course, if you're really frugal and you'd rather work harder than spend more, you can clean the exterior of your toilet using a bleach powder like Comet or Ajax and a damp rag. That's the way my mom does it. But I definitely like to pamper myself. I guess my version of the frugal method is when I'm being frugal, I use those cheap bleach powders inside of the toilet bowl instead of using an actual toilet bowl cleaner. Because if you get the actual toilet bowl cleaner, it's kind of nice how it has that neck on the bottle and it sprays up under the rim. But it's a lot cheaper to use Comet or Ajax inside the toilet bowl. And never mix chemicals inside of the toilet bowl. My social media manager recently posted a video where this asinine video where someone just put a bunch of different chemicals in the toilet bowl, and she said her grandmother taught her that that's super dangerous, and it is. So pick one thing to go in your toilet bowl, because you don't always know what the active ingredient is in each cleaning product. And I've told this story before, but once I used 2 different toilet bowl cleaners, thinking these are both toilet bowl cleaners, thinking they'd be similar. No, I learned my lesson that day. I felt that toxic chemical brewing and ran out of the bathroom. So using the Comet or Ajax or a dedicated toilet bowl cleaner is an either or, because different toilet bowl cleaners have different active ingredients, and it's the whole thing where you don't want to end up inadvertently mixing bleach and ammonia. But where I don't like to cut corners is on using disposable stuff for cleaning the exterior parts of the toilet. Okay, by now you've cleaned the countertop, mirror, and sink, and we're focusing on the exterior parts of the toilet. Paper towels and disinfectant or disinfecting wipes are a lot easier to use, and that's what I like to use on the exterior parts. The seat, behind the seat, the area around the hinges. Yes, I realize you can remove the toilet seat, but you can still clean it effectively without moving it, especially if you're using a spray to really get in those crevices. Okay, and then you're going to want to wash the back of the tank, the flusher handle, the exterior of the bowl. You're going to work your way all the way down. You're going to clean that base. And I'm going to admit that I don't clean the base of the toilet during every light touch-up. But right now, this is more of a deep cleaning session. So I want you to get down on your hands and knees and wipe around the base down where those bolts are, and clean the floor around the base of the toilet. I'm going to give you just a few more minutes to finish up in the bathroom. Maybe you need to sweep your way out of the bathroom, or maybe you're planning to sweep the bathroom kind of in one fell swoop when you sweep the rest of the house. But your bonus task, should you choose to accept it, is quickly wiping down some surfaces in your bathroom that you don't always wipe down. Because we all know when we deep clean a bathroom, we're wiping down the countertop, we're cleaning the sink, the faucet, we're cleaning the toilet. Okay? But what we don't do as often, and it still needs to be done, is wiping down the cabinets, wiping down the light switch plate, wiping down the baseboards. Okay? So if you have time, do some of those deeper cleaning tasks. But if it's a big bathroom, it's super messy, and you're just overwhelmed right now, I get it. Do those other surfaces another day, but I wanted to mention them as a reminder. Don't forget to look up. There may be some areas that you need to spray on your ceiling around the vent. You don't want to let any mold take hold. There might be a window and a windowsill in your bathroom to spray and wipe down. There might be a fixture to dust. These are just some ideas as you're finishing up your bathroom. And of course, take inventory. Are you running low on toilet paper? Add it to your grocery list. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, bar soap, whatever you use, make sure you have enough in stock. Hand soap. Do you need to hang up some fresh towels? If you need more time to work in that bathroom, definitely pause the episode. My sister and those of you who comment serve kind of as my focus group of how you use the show. And she often tells me that she just does whatever needs to be done in her house while listening to me talk. She's not using it as a step by step, but she does get ideas. She hears me say something, ends up cleaning it, but she's also customizing, just doing what needs to be done at her house while I talk. So obviously you could keep working in the bathroom while I move on. But before I have you do kind of the final step of dusting and vacuuming your entire house, or sweeping if that's how you do it, I want you to pick a room or an area that you're going to focus your deeper cleaning efforts on today, because you got the whole house picked up. You got one of your bathrooms deep cleaned. You got your kitchen under control. So at this point, you might need to make a choice. And that's what life is about. There's never time for us to just be perfect in every area, and that's okay. You're probably not having a white glove inspection by your mother-in-law tonight. But what you probably have is an area that needs more attention than another area. Maybe it's been a long time since you've really deep cleaned your bedroom as far as dusting the surfaces and just being real thorough in there. Or maybe someone is coming over and you want your kitchen to really sparkle or your living room to really sparkle. Or maybe you have a room that just needs an overhaul. Maybe you have a small child or disabled child or an elderly parent, somebody who needs you to clean their room. Okay, maybe that's what you're going to focus on doing. But I want you to pick one room and do some things in there you don't normally do. Okay, for example, in my bedroom, I have 2 small windows and a sliding glass door. So if I were to focus my deep cleaning efforts in here, I would be cleaning the insides of the windows. I might decide to go outside and clean the exterior of those windows. I'm going to wipe down the window sills. I'm probably going to pick at least one baseboard to wipe down. I'm going to vacuum out the dusty track of my sliding glass door. Maybe shake out the mats. Be working in a room that needs your attention. I'm just throwing out some ideas while you work. If I were to focus on my living room, I'd be dusting the blinds, cleaning the insides of 3 windows, wiping out 3 window sills. Well, 4 if you include the skinny window by my front door. Okay. I would be cleaning out the drawer in my side table and my entertainment center, we'll call it. It's not an old school entertainment center, so I typically call it the TV stand. But I do have a piece of furniture that has a couple drawers and a shelf. You know, baseboards are a thing in every room, but it's not an all or nothing. Sometimes you want to just pick one baseboard or 2 baseboards to wipe down. Sometimes you need to go through a kid's toy box and get rid of broken toys. Sometimes you need to clean out your walk-in closet so that you can walk into it again. Or clean out your hall closet. Okay? After the episode, I want you to go through with either go through your whole house with either a feather duster or a microfiber cloth and some dusting spray, whatever you use to dust. Quickly go through and do that. Do some light dusting and then vacuum or sweep and mop your entire house in one fell swoop. And you need to have a music playlist for this, or maybe some other podcasts on different topics, because there's not a lot of thought involved when you're just cleaning your floor systematically in rows. Okay? So I want you to do that after the episode. But for right now, I want you to pick an area of focus to do lots of bonus tasks. And you know which area needs the most help. And if your whole house needs help, you might need to listen to several episodes this week. One of my dear listeners took some time off from work and binged several episodes to get her house under control. And I found that so admirable, the dedication to just focus and clean, listen and clean and repeat day after day, because she had gone through something so painful that she'd been paralyzed with depression for a while. And she still had to go to work and things like that. But her house had suffered. I think we can all relate to that to an extent, even if we haven't gone through something as traumatic. We've all had times where we're preoccupied with something and it physically drains us. That could be you right now. You're not alone. You just might need to clean along with an episode every single day for a while. And obviously, decluttering, it's not this one-time project. It's a lifestyle. For example, I recently cleaned out my hall closet that's more of a coat closet. I recently cleaned that out. Not that we just keep coats in it. We do have coats in it, among other things. But I recently cleaned out that closet. But across from that is the one called the linen closet that has the shelves instead of a bar where you hang things. Okay, a lot of houses have both. And that one needs to be cleaned out now because somebody just stacked it sky high with comforters and sheets and blankets. And I feel like those items could be organized a lot better than what they are. My walk-in closet, I'm always having to redo it. Not so much the clothes that are hanging up, but the things that I place on the floor. Because I have a shoe rack with shelves in there. I've got a plastic dresser where I put various things that are not clothing. I have clothes hanging up, but sometimes the floor of my walk-in closet becomes kind of a catch-all. When I'm cleaning my room in a hurry, I put things in there. And I think we're all guilty of this to some extent or another, where we're relocating things instead of putting them away right. Like one room gets clean at the expense of another. In an episode like this, where I'm telling you focus on an area, it could be the area that has gotten messed up at the expense of another room. I mean, it might have been a great idea to put everything in the spare bedroom or one of the closets when you were preparing for guests, or when you just wanted your most lived in areas clean for you and your family. I understand, but sometimes we have to evaluate our home and identify the problem areas. Is there a shelf above your washer and dryer that's cluttered? And maybe you need to brain dump some of these items onto your list because there are so many of them. But if you listen to my show often, you probably won't need a to-do list that's about cleaning, because I'm going to remind you to do various things. And if you listen to enough episodes, I'm going to mention everything. At least I try. If you started a load of laundry at the beginning of this episode, depending on the length of the cycle, it might be time to switch the laundry from the washing machine into the dryer. Sometimes when I'm just doing a load of towels, and they're not like stinky, forgotten, mildewed towels, just regular towels that have been used but appear relatively clean, I'll put it on the short cycle. And I'm really likely to use the short cycle when I'm just washing a load of dressy clothing, like things I wear to church or work, which is usually a dark load. I wear a lot of black. I'll put it on a short cycle so that I don't eat up too much time, because I want to do the laundry switch and start another load. And then I'll put it on a more thorough sanitizing cycle if it's something questionable, some kind of pet bedding or something, or towels used to clean up throw up or whatever. We haven't dealt with that in a while. I will tell you this though, if someone throws up and doesn't make it to the bathroom, what I've always done, and my kids are older now, so this hardly ever happens, but what I would do is grab my ugliest towel. I would pick a towel or towels plural that were kind of frayed along the edges, or maybe had bleach stains on them or whatever, just the ugly towels. I'd clean up the mess with the ugly towels and then throw them away, because from time to time you're getting new towels anyway. After a while, they're thin, they're not that soft. They don't look nice anymore, and you're always upgrading and getting new ones, but save a few ugly ones for those gross messes, okay? And something that does still happen is a dog throwing up. Hopefully I'm not grossing you out here, but I definitely reserve the right to throw away towels when I clean up a gross mess. I just pick an old ugly towel for it. When I was growing up, our old ugly towels were taken out to the garage and we used them to dry the cars after washing the cars. But since my husband and I usually drive through a car wash, I typically just keep the ugly towels in a cupboard and then use them when there's a gross mess to clean up and then just throw them away. I hope you got your whole house looking good during this episode. I encourage you to vacuum the whole house or sweep and mop the whole house after this. It'll give you time to listen to your non-cleaning podcasts. Thank you so much for your financial support. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you soon.